and vice versa, but that's okay. God convicts us of what we need to be convicted of to help us build our relationship with Him. But you know what God's convicting you of. I don't need to know. Pastor Mark doesn't need to know. You don't even need to tell us. That's between you and God. But if you want that relationship with God that you feel like maybe is missing, or you feel like your prayers are going unanswered, think about the convictions God's laid on you. Are you holding to them? Or are you listening to Satan telling you it's okay? Oh, you can ask for forgiveness tomorrow. No. For one, we're not promised tomorrow.
Come on now.
And for two, if you're going to continue have to keep coming up to this altar and ask to be forgiven for the same thing over and over and over again, you might be able to fool me, you might be able to fool Pastor Mark, you might be able to fool your family, but you can't fool God.
Right.
God knows your heart. You're not fooling anyone but yourself.
Right.
But God knows your heart. And until we listen to our convictions and we leave it at the altar and mean it in our hearts, things aren't going to change. You want your prayers answered? Then stick to your convictions God's laid on your heart. Don't pick them back up. You know, we preach all the time. When we put something at the altar, leave it at the altar. It's not ours to pick back up. If you can feel convicted about it one day, I can make a promise to you, you're not going to not feel convicted the next day. So if you have a conviction on your heart, don't listen to that other voice that's going to tell you, oh, it's okay. Because it's not. If God lays a conviction on your heart, it's not for just today. He's laying a conviction on your heart for a reason. So if you feel like your prayers aren't getting answered, if you feel like that just things aren't going the way they're supposed to go, why, God? Why is this happening to me? Why? I'm praying. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why? Does it feel like you're not listening? Ask yourself, are you listening? Every last person that can hear my voice has convictions laid on your heart. God convicts each and every one of us. But He doesn't do it to keep us down. He gives us these convictions to make us stronger, to be able to fight the enemy, to be able to grow in Him. You know, none of us are perfect. We all slip up. We all make mistakes. God knows that. None of us are perfect. But there's a difference between asking for forgiveness and meaning it in your heart. You know, everything that happened here this morning was for a reason. What God's laid on my heart to share is for a reason. You know, I've only been to this church a few times, so I don't know a lot of you very well. And I'm not here every Sunday to see what's going on. So I'm not trying to point anybody out. But if you have the same person coming up to the altar for prayer every time they're at church, and they're having to ask for forgiveness for the same thing over and over and over and over, and nothing's changing, why? Why are you having to ask for the same thing over and over and over? Because the Bible tells me, if I ask forgiveness and I mean it in my heart, and I ask God to take a situation and fix it, and I stand in faith that you were talking about this morning that He's going to, then I should only have to leave it at the altar one time. So why is it that we have to keep asking over and over and over and over for the same thing? Where's our faith? Or is it that we allow our convictions to get the better of us? You know, I don't know who this is for this morning, but it's meant for somebody. And if me sharing my experience helps even one person, then I'm glad I shared it. Because I'm not perfect. I can only tell you what it did for me by not letting go of that conviction, but then turning around and making a change and finally letting go and finally calling the devil a liar that he is. You know, I love each and every one of you. I thank you for welcoming me into your church. From my family, and I speak for Brandon too, we love all of you. You're like family to us. And I expect to see each and every one of you at those eastern gates. But are you truly ready to walk through those gates? Are you truly standing to your convictions? Or are you letting the devil sit over here and tell you, it's okay, you can ask for forgiveness tomorrow? I got news for you. One of these days, tomorrow's not going to come. So are you going to leave it there? And when the devil starts to, oh, it's okay, we can ask forgiveness tomorrow. Or are you going to call him a liar and tell him to get thee behind?
Come on, man.
You have a choice.
That's right.
You don't have to sit there and take the devil sitting there trying to talk in your ear. You know, the Bible tells us that we have power to tell the devil, get thee behind.
Come on now.
And you know what? He has to flee. Because where God is, he can't be.
Right.
So if you've got God in your life, and the devil starts trying to get in there, they can't both be in the same place. So if you've got God there, get thee behind, devil. He's got to go. So who are you going to listen to? I can't tell you. You have to listen to someone. That's a choice. That darn free will. You know, one of the worst things I wish that I never had. God, just tell me what to do. I don't want the free will. Just tell me what to do. But he loved us enough. He wanted us to love him. He could have made us to love him. That's not what he wanted. He wants us to love him. He wants us to seek him. He wants to answer our prayers. But we can't. But we stand in the way of God doing and working in our lives the way he wants to. So if you feel God's not doing or working in your life or working on a situation that you're praying about, and it just seems like he's not answering my prayers, search your own heart. Because until you get your heart right with God, things aren't going to change. But when you do, watch out. Because God's going to take you and lift you higher than you've ever been lifted before.
Yes. Bless him, Lord.
But you got to get right with God. I don't know all of your hearts. It's easy to come to church every Sunday and say I'm a Christian. It's easy to show up to church every time there's a church service. Wednesday night, Thursday night, Sunday. Portray to be a Christian. But are you truly right in your heart? That's between you and God. But if things aren't feeling like God's answering your prayers, search your heart. Get in your prayer closets if you've got one. Get at the altar. Get wherever you need to go to talk to God. God will answer. If you don't know why God's not answering your prayers, if you talk to God, He'll tell you. He's going to tell you what you need to fix to get right with Him. He loves us that much. He wants a relationship with us. He wants us to be up there with Him. But if we're not right in our hearts, we're going to be missing out. I'm going to turn it back over to you because I've said what needs to be said. I just pray that your hearts, your ears, and your minds are open. We all have convictions. I'm not saying we're perfect. We're going to mess up. But when we do, and we ask for forgiveness, mean it in your heart. Because if you don't, you're wasting your breath.